A couple years ago, it was like, man, they're growing, they're trying things, to get up there, and then there's a feel that like the inmates are running the prison. Dude, did you know you can subscribe to onlywrestlers.com and keep in touch with your favorite wrestlers? The party never has to end.
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
What about Jon Moxley?
Oh, with the thing in the back?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. What did you think of that, Rob?
The broom of nails. I thought, it's not my thing, not my kind of thing. That's not wrestling to me. But obviously it's sacrificing a lot for the business. I mean, that could be said about it. But the more AEW has been doing stuff like that, the more personally I feel like I would rather be associated with WWE than AEW. A couple years ago, it was like, man, they're growing, they're trying things, to get up there, and then there's a feel that like the inmates are running the prison, which there always has been, for better or worse. I mean, that was used as a good point at first, like, hey, the boys are running it, cool. But for me, this serves as an example of why that might not be a good idea. But it is a style of wrestling. I mean, I put that with the light bulb matches, the death matches where two people grab each other and jump off the back of a semi truck and land on a pile of light bulbs. That's not my kind of wrestling, and it's something that I personally look at as being lower than the substandard, because it's going to draw only a certain niche crowd that's into that kind of stuff. So what Jon Moxley did with having the spikes stuck in his back, which could have paralyzed him, like it seems like so easily. That is the kind of stuff. Like when they put something through Swerve's cheek,
a needle. They put a needle through
that. Yeah, even the staples, all of that stuff, just personally is a turnoff for me. And the more I see that they want to go that route, I think, well, for one, it separates WWE from AEW as far as the path that they're taking in the business. And maybe AEW will be known more like the FMW of Japan used to be, where they do exploding piranha matches and stuff. I don't know, but I didn't like it. It's really crazy, dangerous. I don't want to knock their freedom of expression. I think, that's probably cool to them, I guess, or or else they would turn it down when it was at the idea phase if it didn't sound cool, right? So congratulations, pulling off a crazy stunt, death-defying stunt that, for better or worse, I don't know that's gonna. I don't know. Will that get ratings? Will people say like, "Oh, I gotta see this. What do they do next?" I don't know. I won't personally.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Rob. I like Moxley. I think he was a great ambassador for AEW. I think he's really good with promos, and I like his look and overall his mentality when it comes to certain things. But like some of this stuff just takes me out of it. I think it's like I don't tune into wrestling for that stuff. And like when I see that it like Wheeler Yuta trying to pull the spike out of his back, and it's just like that gruesomeness of it all. It's like I'm not a squeamish person, but like that kind of I literally like had to look away because I'm like, oh, that's too much. And it's just that aspect of it all is not needed to keep me entertained or me engaged. Whereas like there's different ways to tell a story than to do something like that. And ultimately, I think it's just on a weekly basis. Are people really? Is that really going to get somebody to tune in? I got to tune in next week and see what happens. Maybe it gets a certain amount of people, but I think there's also like a ceiling to that, or just like you're not widening an audience. You're not spreading a wider net by doing stuff like that, I think. And not
I
today.
think so. Just like, when I was in ECW, I just wanted to get the exposure so that we would have enough people watch it so I wouldn't have to leave ECW and go to one of the other companies. But now I realize it was always going to be a niche crowd that was going to, and I was part of that niche crowd. And all of us that were in ECW feel like that was the superior form of entertainment. But I know now that mainstream would disagree. And so we would never be able to, I shouldn't say we wouldn't be able to be taken seriously, but we definitely couldn't get up to compete with one of the top big dogs that were doing it mainstream style. That never would have happened if we were given, everything lined up perfect for us to work out. It still would have been just a certain niche part of the majority of people that were like-minded like us. They'll be like, "Oh, that was so cool," and it wouldn't. The most people, need things simplified, explained out, more cartoonish, and just more mainstream. When you're mainstream, you're reaching a lot more people, so you got to take kids into consideration. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, yeah, who's going to be buying stuff is the parents for those kids and things like that. So it's just like keeping all that in consideration makes it another thing. Now with ECW too, at the same time, it's just like you consider the time period in like the late 90s. What people were kind of seeking for was like MTV, Jerry Springer, certain things like that, or edginess, and certain things. And ECW provided that, like in the aspect of, hey, here's the foundation of what is different than what you're used to seeing in WWE from like, Doink the Clowns or, anything to that effect, where it's just like, now we're getting something else. And that was intriguing in itself. Now it's a different time period. We've seen everything and anything get done in pro wrestling. And so where does that fit in the ecoscape of the pro wrestling world, the mainstream pro wrestling world now? And I think AEW almost provided that alternative very early on, and I was really rooting for them. I still always root for them, but it's also like they're not going in the direction that it seemed initially intended to, and I think it takes away from it. I would love that if they accepted constructive criticism and just kind of took that and be like, all right, this is what we need to adjust with it. But it seems like they have this old mentality in mind where it's just things are all over the place and there's no cohesive kind of unit going on when it comes there. I don't know.
Yeah, they're separating themselves. They're not trying to be WWE. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
My
absolutely. For good, for better, for worse. Yeah, I would say too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just opened a new Turtle Beach headset, the Stealth 700. All right. Ooh, man. Yeah, that cancels everything out. Very comfortable on my head. And I can just only imagine what the audio quality is going to be like. I feel like a fighter pilot. I feel like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. But whatever you play, you can engage and chat, talk some trash. I usually don't talk trash because I'm horrible and I always lose at Fortnite. So, but what you can do too is use promo code RVD. Use the link and use promo code RVD to get 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com. And you can feel good about your gaming experience. This is already elevating it. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to plug this in and try it out. And I'll give a further review in a later video. But go to turtlebeach.com, use promo code RVD, and get 10% off your order. All right, guys. See you later. Happy gaming. And, yes, let's go Bucks. Have better sex with BlueChew. BlueChew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, BlueChew is offering a combo so strong it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. Bam! You'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. Uh-oh. BlueChew Max has arrived. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable tablet. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of BlueChew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. BlueChew tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of BlueChew free when you use promo code RVD. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code RVD. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank BlueChew for sponsoring the podcast.